Good morning, welcome to Nerd Shores Prepping. I'm your host, Greg. Welcome to the new subscribers. I'm getting a lot of questions, comments about starting from the beginning. So let's do that. Yesterday I did a video on basics, getting started and how to. Now I want to go on to the next step of saying what to store up and how to look for it and how to spend your money wisely. That's the critical key that everybody makes a lot of mistakes on. My first suggestion is first, read everything you can read about prepping, survival, food, storage, the value of food, and how to survive. That's what I would strongly suggest. If you're going to spend any money, get yourself a really good book. Kindle has free offerings as well. Take it with a grain of salt. But again, get the concept. Read from tried and true people that have been in the survival business for a long time before you go out and spend any of your hard-earned money. A lot of people just go out and blow the money and say, what have I done? I wasted all this money and I got nothing for it. So pardon me, my first suggestion is buy a hardback book. Read as much as you can about the techniques, storage, buying food, where to buy food, how much to buy food, and the value of food. All right. Second thing, read about your medical, read about water, read about clothing. All these things you're going to need to know. All right. But first off, the value of food. The average human person will blow between 1,500 and 2,000 calories a day, just minimal activity. If you are out doing like I'm doing, gardening, cutting wood, raising chickens, taking the dogs for a walk, doing patrol, you're expending more than 2,000 calories. I'm in the range between 2,500 and 3,000. I guarantee you that when this collapses, when it falls apart, and say we're in blackout situation, when this falls apart, you will be expending more than 2,000 calories per day. You will be up in the range between 4,000 and 6,000. When I was living in Alaska, and I lived that for 12 years, a majority of my time was either in the mountains or on the river fishing, plus working. I was always doing something, cutting wood. I was always doing something. I did that for 12 years. When we went out on fly-out hunts, the pilot dropped us off. We brought in as much food as we could possibly pack in the Otter. And, you know, in those days, there was no cell phones, no sack phones. We didn't have MREs. We had C rations. Okay, that's how far back this goes. And we brought in potatoes, spam, and all that kind of stuff, cooking oil. The pilot said, if you don't have it, you're not going to get it because I'm not coming back. Secondly, he said, if you can walk 5 days in any direction you want, you will not see anybody, so don't F up and get yourself hurt seriously because you're going to die. All right? So when they drop, when you're out there by yourself, and it's just like the series Alone on TV and on the History Channel, I think it is, or something, it's called Alone. Single survival, I strongly suggest that if you can get that, watch that series. It is a very great learning experience to see how these people make it or don't make it and avoid those mistakes. But let's get back to the food. All right, so woulda, coulda, shoulda. I missed out on cheap MREs. When I was doing this, MREs were going for anywhere from $45 to $65 a case. They are now well over $100 if you include the shipping and everything else. On Amazon for a military A and B, it is somewhere in the range of $300 now, I think, free shipping. But that's really expensive. Dehydrated and freeze-dried food, when I was purchasing it, it was $50 a bucket. Now they're up to almost $100. So again, woulda, coulda, shoulda. So you're saying, I can't afford that. I'm just a regular Joe working paycheck to paycheck. What can I get at the grocery stores that I can use to provide the calories and the carbs I need to help keep this engine going in an SHTF? Pay attention to that. If you're just buying ramen noodles and cup of noodle soups, you look at that and you say, how am I going to achieve 4,000 plus calories to cut wood, to do patrol, to stand guard, to garden, to take care of the livestock, to take care of the chickens, and basically just survive? A cup of noodle soup isn't going to provide that for you. You have to add something. That's why everybody says, start gardening, learn now. You know, if you've already got a garden, then keep it going. Learn how to preserve that harvest. So when you have that cup of noodle soup and you have to achieve your goal, you have to add vegetables to that or meat in order to make that cup of noodle soup work for you or your family. Everybody likes Spam or likes to show Spam. Not everybody likes it. A lot of people haven't even tried it. When the missus and I first got together, she had never had Spam, but I said, I learned this under the Jimmy Carter administration on how to eat canned meat and make the dollar go longer. Spam lasts for a long, long time. I like it. I like it cooked in the skillet. Put some eggs and hash browns with it, and you have a hearty breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever. The good thing about Spam, the nutrition facts, says 180 calories. That's a big one right there. 180 calories in this can. You can't eat 5 cans of this to get your thing, but you can eat slices of this added with potatoes, which you should be growing in your garden, or vegetables or bread or something to up the calorie count. But this will help you a lot. The trouble is this weighs a lot. Ounces translates to pounds. If you're putting this in your bug out bag or anything else and you're saying, man, my pack is really heavy, I've got to unload stuff. A gallon of water is over 8 pounds. All right? So you're going to need water. You know that. Ammo by itself, just, 6 rounds in your pistol or 9 or 12 or whatever, doesn't weigh a lot. But when you start putting in magazines, 30-round magazines, now you're adding a lot of weight. Plus this, you're going to be saying, what can I get rid of? Use this to stay at home and eat. It can be eaten cold. It's 12 ounces. So now you're adding 2 cans of this, you're adding a pound and a half. Be aware of that. Good thing to have, stock up. It's still reasonably cheap. You say, I'm a vegetarian and I don't like that. So you say soup, all right? This has 0 calories and the carbohydrates, sorry for that, is 7% carb. So a can of soup ain't gonna cut it. It's not gonna meet your daily ration, but you can eat it cold. And for those of you who say, I don't eat meat, you will learn to eat meat, I guarantee you. You're not gonna have any qualms when you get hungry. And believe me, I know hunger. When you get hungry, everything is fair game. Soup, though, for right now, if you're saying I'm sticking to my principles, a can of soup plus will help get you there. Can of soup plus. But this is 12 ounces. So if you're putting this in your pack, again, weight translates to pounds. But right now, soup is cheap. Get it. It can be eaten hot or cold. Drink it right out of the can. Good thing to have. Saying, okay, Greg, you're saying I need to add something. What can I add? Here you go. Minute rice. You have to have water for this right here. You have to know how to cook rice. How many people know how to cook rice in a pot and how many people don't? There's a little more to it than boiling water and pouring it in there. Read the directions. But right now, rice is still a little cheap, and it is a good additive to add to your, to supplement this. I'm looking at this. 170 calories per serving in this. Rice is good. You can get it in a bag right now. I think, if I remember correctly, a 25-pound bag of rice at Sam's was still around $9. That price has even gone up. But if you get 25 pounds of white rice, That 25 pounds can feed a family of 4, 2 servings a day minimum, for almost a year if you budget it correctly. And that's another thing. Budget your food supplies. Every time somebody says, well, I'm hungry, get over it. Get over it, because I guarantee you, if you don't stick to a budget on your food, you are going to be out before you can say what happened. One of the guys we took out on a fly-out hunt, I'll never forget it, but I'm not going to say his name, but this guy was a lazy POS. All he wanted to do was sit by the campfire. We asked him to boil the water, he could barely do that. All he wanted to do was sit around and just, take it in. He didn't hunt with us, he didn't do anything. And finally, we came back and said, what happened to all our food supplies? While we were out hunting and scouting and gathering firewood and blueberries and everything else, this guy was sitting in camp eating our supplies. So if you add a member to your group, you better make sure they understand the guidelines. You don't eat until everybody else eats, or until we say go ahead before you go pull duty. All right? But this guy ate up our supplies, and then one night I heard a Ziploc bag opening. I'm like, what the hell's this? Am I dreaming something? Here he had food pellets stashed in a sleeping bag, so when he got hungry and everybody else was asleep, he was eating while everybody else was starving, because we hadn't killed any game. And blueberry, handfuls of blueberry plus water and coffee just don't cut it. So be stingy with your food. So if somebody says, I'm really hungry, hey, get over it. Drink a glass of water, eat a blade of grass, whatever it takes. Nobody eats until that. So add rice. Calories count. Here's another one. This comes in canned pork, canned beef. This has really gotten expensive. I got this from Amazon, but you can also get it at Walmart, Wally World, and the price has gone up dramatically. Used to buy it for $3 or $4 a can. It's now $7, $8 a can. It is expensive. However, it will provide you servings of meat to mix with the rice or your soup, and the calorie count is 70 calories. So what I'm trying to get through to you is, number one, if you can't afford the MREs or anything else like that, and you're looking on your grocery shelf and saying, what can I use to supplement my list of foods to store? Before you buy, something, say, number one, do I like it? Will I eat it? Number two, what's the carb count? What's the calorie count? How long will it last? Okay? And how much room do I have? Those are the food facts. When somebody says, Mommy, I'm hungry, and she just ate, that's the serving allotment. That's why I said, have your backyard chickens, have your garden, know how to preserve it. So when somebody says, Mommy, I'm hungry, and you're saying, okay, here, have mine, and you go without, you're in deep trouble. And as soon as you open up your supply store, right, everything crashes, grocery store shut down, the economy sucks, whatever happens, a blackout, whatever happens, there is no resupply for a specific time, if ever. As soon as you crack open your food supply, you started your stopwatch to empty. You better have renewable food sources or another way to get it without killing or being killed to restock. Discipline, discipline, discipline. I hope you find this helpful. I cannot emphasize enough what it's like to be on a fly-out hunt. You're hungry because some POS decided he wanted to eat before anybody else and sneak, and consume all your foods. And to make matters worse, we got stranded extra days because the plane couldn't come in due to bad weather, which is common up in Alaska. So while we were extremely angry with this guy, we still had to go do the things. We still had to gather firewood. We still had to gather water. We still had to go out hunt and travel on muskeg and dry ground, climbing hills and mountains. And then we still had to be at least somewhat civil to that guy who robbed us of our calories. And I guarantee you, after we got back, I was done with him, and so was everybody else. He was ostracizing and saying, don't even talk to me, don't even try to make things up. You know, you were just out for yourself, and that's it. So a lesson learned on adding members to your group. Thank you for liking and subscribing. Welcome to this channel. I hope you found this helpful. A lot of people forget how much calories and carbs count under stress. Get yourself right with God. Get baptized, submerged in water. In the name of Jesus Christ, Greg out.